Hello and welcome to On Your Lane. This is the best place for ambitious people who are taking charge of their lives, making that impact, making that money, and living fulfilling lives. And today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship versus NGO-centric businesses. NGO-centric is something that I just made up. So to really bring some clarity on it, let me talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is when you build a business that is solution based. You see gaps in your community, you see gaps in services offered, you see gaps in the way things people do things, and you think you can improve, you think you can provide a solution and make lives better. And I believe that entrepreneurship is really key for third world countries like Malawi and other African and Asian countries that need development, because we have so many gaps in how we live lives, in technology, in development, that if people step up and fill those gaps, then they solve problems, but at the same time, they get a return for it. The thing that comes up with entrepreneurship that I love is that as you grow and get more efficient in your system, in your business, in solving the problems that people are facing, you develop this ecosystem that brings up your community with you. So you're operating your business normally. What is happening now is you have suppliers, you have employees, that are, their lives are getting better, their lives are attached to your business and they're improving. At the same time, you have these clients now that then can take your product and maybe process it or resell it. So it has this whole ecosystem that is affected, that is being uplifted as your business is being uplifted. And I believe that is a real solution that is relevant and really important for countries like Malawi and other third world countries. Now here is the other side of it, the NGO centric part of this story. Because we have so many gaps and we have these lags in development, we then receive a lot of funds that are here to do projects, to help, philanthropic efforts, initiatives, so many things. This is money that people give to try to help us, right? Get out of the issues that we have, the problems that we have. I don't have a problem with this money. I actually believe we do need help to a certain extent, and that's a different story. But here is where I connect it with entrepreneurship, and this is what I'm trying to address here. In entrepreneurship, you need the process, right? I'll give you an example of a tomato seller because I am an agriculture person and tomatoes are just what comes out at the top of my head. So a tomato seller who is in this field, let me not call them a tomato seller, let me call them an entrepreneur. I'll give you an example of an entrepreneur person in a community that imports tomatoes. They see that this community uses a lot of tomatoes. They see the traffic coming in with so many trucks of tomatoes every month or every day, and they think, why do we import tomatoes? Let me learn about tomatoes. They learn about tomatoes and they then start to grow them. They see that, okay, when I was doing research, there were so many things that were omitted. It is challenging on the ground. It's not straightforward. But they believe that this is a solution my community needs, so let me stick with it. So they get labor issues, they lose their money, and they keep pushing up to the time when it works. What does it take to work? That means it has taken them to be resilient in their business, which takes years sometimes. And then after being resilient, it has taken that the weather is right, which is outside their control. And it has also taken the fact that the market is right. Because sometimes you work hard and your product is amazing and the market is flooded with it. And your prices go down because of supply and demand, right? So when you keep on, when this tomato seller we're talking about, this tomato entrepreneur keeps on and finds that the weather, the market, and his effort match, then they have made it. And then they keep going and then they learn more about this industry, they gain efficiencies, they gain economies of scale, they expand, and they do so well. What has happened here? What has happened is this person has understood, this person has become a different person. It's like a personal development process that happens because you're learning. Entrepreneurship exposes you to so many things and you have to be resilient. You have to understand the market, the gaps, the weaknesses, your processes, and then you become this person. And this building process changes things in a person. That is essential for building, especially in countries like Malawi, in third world countries. We need people who are resilient, people who have experience in building. Now, because we are privy to this income that just flows because of philanthropic efforts and because of other developmental initiatives, what happens is we cut this process short for this entrepreneur. What I'm saying in this case pertaining to entrepreneurship is that this whole process that I described, this whole self-development journey, this whole learning of your industry can get distorted because of this free money. So you are an entrepreneur, you see this need for tomatoes in your industry or in your community, you position yourself right to take advantage of this gap and provide a solution. You have your business plan ready and everything is set. Then you find, wait, there's grant money available to entrepreneurs who are solving problems in their community. So you go apply for that money. Now you get that money and now you have starting your business in a different way. When you're starting your business with, let's say, a little amount of money and that's all you have, the problems that hit you differently. When you have issues, glitches and bumps and issues, you try to be efficient. You search for solutions. Now, when you start with the money, it hits you differently. When you have a labor problem, you put money to it. After all, you don't know this business, you're learning. So you don't struggle, and I'm not exalting the struggle, but there is something that you learn in the struggle. There's something that you learn when you're at the end of yourself that you can't learn when you're starting with a whole bag of money. So you'll find that so many inefficiencies will arise and you'll be able to correct them and live with them. You can even sell a product. Let's say your box of tomato needs to be at least $1. You can even manufacture that same tomato for $10. You put it on the market, you're making losses, but you can still bear those losses because you're starting this business with abundance, with all this money. So I believe that there is that difference where you have a business model that makes sense for entrepreneurship, you're solving a problem, but that business model has been distorted by all this free money that is coming. And this free money is diverting interest from efficiency building systems to, hey, how can I get more of it? How can I solve these problems with just money? Does this make sense? Let me explain it some more. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not easy because it will challenge you. It will challenge you and expose your weaknesses. It will expose your flaws in thinking, in operating. It will take your money. You will invest money and make mistakes and lose it. It's not easy. It's not easy because there are things that cannot be shared in books that you meet on the ground. There are weather challenges, there are political challenges, there are economic challenges that you meet. But you have a target and you're trying to find a system that works and prevails and is profitable in that environment. So it is not easy. What happens, however, is if you stick to it and you learn it, then you really get experience and confidence. You really get strong understanding. So it is not easy. And the second thing is it takes time. It takes time to learn something. Like I said, there's so many unpredictable forces. There's so many unpredictable parts in your system to generate income or to develop a system that solves problems. There are so many unpredictable issues. So you start today and you think, okay, I will sell my tomatoes because the price now is $1 per box. And then you produce your tomatoes, the price is now $0.50 per box. What changed? Maybe there was an influx from another supplier. Maybe no, now people are using different things. It's just unpredictable. So it takes time for you to find something that works, and that can be taxing on people. But all in all, it trains you. It is important to be efficient. It is important to find the most cost-effective way of doing things. It is important to learn from mistakes. It is important to find what works and what doesn't work. It is important to understand your clients. It is important to understand the trends in your market. It is important to understand your process, your logistics. There's so much that you need to understand as an entrepreneur. And this understanding will not come from research. Research helps you at least map the way or show you an interesting area or promising area you need to focus on. But after that, entrepreneurship itself in practice will train you. It will make you resilient, but it will also give you a resilient proposal, a resilient idea, a resilient business. It makes you really, really strong. So those are the pros that come with entrepreneurship, which are also cons, because really when you are just starting and you're looking at all this and you're like, well, I just want to make money and make an easier living for my family. Do I have to go through all this? The rewards for entrepreneurship are crazy. With a job, you can be certain that when you work, let's say at $1 million kwacha a month that you're getting, you can be sure that maybe in 3 years you will have a 30% increase, maybe a 50% increase. Rarely will you triple your salary, you see. But with entrepreneurship, you can start with zero and you can keep getting to the negatives year after year. But when you perfect your system and you're resilient, then you solve a problem and get astronomical gains from it. And when you solve that problem very well, there's a chance that you can be solving a national, a regional, a global problem. And then that's just crazy. So we read stories like Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Bill Gates, they're like Aliko Dangote. We read about Strive Masiyiwa in Africa. Read about all these stories. These are people, when they're telling you their stories, you're like, oh my goodness, you went through all that. People didn't believe in you. People backed out on you. It took you so long. These are people who worked hard, were resilient. They held on to the dream. They learned the lessons, but now they're on the other side. We talk about them. We're so far away from them. I am like, there's no chance of me meeting them ever, maybe even. But somehow I talk about them, and their story inspires me because they prevailed. And there are very few people who do prevail, because very few people can look at all these negatives and all these trials and be judged, misunderstood, and lose, make mistakes, and get back and do it again. But it is important. Imagine building something just half of what Dangote has built. Imagine building something half of what Jeff Bezos has built. Building it in Africa, building it in your country. What kind of transformation would that be for the whole economy, for the whole ecosystem? It would be amazing. It would be phenomenal. So it is worthwhile. But it is only for a few who are able to persevere, who are able to lay down the present and all its excitement and all these shiny things and focus and put in the work and put in the work and then more work to see the result. What I have observed, however, with the NGO-centric business model is this young business person or older business person, let's just say this entrepreneur has a vision. They are set on it, but they're experiencing the gains before really doing the work. They have not persevered. They have not understood. They have not made those mistakes and learned from them. Because you can make a mistake, but if you're cushioned from the mistake, you really don't feel the pain of it. And therefore, you're not motivated to solve the issues in there. You can have motivation, maybe you have a vision, but you won't feel the pain because you're cushioned. And when you understand what it takes for you to attract this free money, grant money, donor money, project money, it really just messes your learning curve. It really takes away the effort from really learning the business, learning the industry, because all this unpredictability makes learning so hard. It makes growing so hard. It makes business so hard. It takes a toll on your person. It takes a toll on your mind, on your family, on your relationships. And then you're in this place where you don't have to go through all that pain, but you can reap the rewards. So somebody's saying, we'll give you 40,000 US dollars in your business for you to try this. And you're like, what? 40,000 what? And then you get that money and it works on your mindset. It changes your mindset. Now the edge you had to be like, I need the solution. I need to find a cost-effective way. It goes away. It really does. Some might disagree, but from my experience, it goes away. It pacifies you. Now you already made it. Now you can afford to buy that fancy car because your business needs it for transportation and whatnot. Now you are the real CEO who has money. But the challenge is you don't know. You have not learned anything. You don't know how business works. You don't know how business works. You have not acquired that resilience. You have not understood your market. You don't know how to generate income. You don't know where 40,000 comes from or how can you make 40,000 for yourself. And that affects your confidence. That affects your legitimacy, how you feel. You feel like a fraud deep down. You might not really experience it, or you might suppress it because, hey, you have so much money here, but you feel a lack. And it builds dependency on where this money is coming from. It builds this unhealthy dependency that then counters this entrepreneurial drive that you have. So what do you learn now? Now you have to learn buzzwords. There are buzzwords that you have to use to attract money, and they work, right? So instead of 10, 5, 6 years of hard work, learning a system, you just learn buzzwords. Buzzwords like sustainability, buzzwords like women empowerment, youth education, buzzwords like climate change, recycling, stuff like that. You can use those words in proposals. You can learn what donors look for. You can learn what project funding works, how project funding works and what they seek. You can learn all that. and then you attract the money. Now, instead of sitting down worrying, now you just have benefits. And this is something that we see so prevalent in Africa, in my country at least, where you have that uncle, that uncle who doesn't, or an aunt, whoever it is, who doesn't do anything for themselves. You first of all think, okay, aunt, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a little bit of money, start that business. She's like, yes, I'll start it. Next time you meet her, she has nothing, right? She had the business idea. She convinced you, she just needed capital. Then you're like, okay, auntie, what happened? They're like, hey, it was so hard. And then my kid got sick. And then I used the money for that. You're like, okay, that makes sense. I'll give you more. And then you give them more. And now, next time you meet them, they haven't done much. You find out later that when you give them the money, they buy maybe the things that they need to have to start their business, but then they spend a lot. Maybe they have more fun. They eat out a lot more. They give a lot. They're careless with the money. What is happening there? Mindset. Free money develops these pathways in your head where you stop connecting hard work, resilience, tenacity to reward. You now just connect like ask and you get, ask and you get, ask and you get. Make a funny face, tell a sad story and you get. So you learn as an entrepreneur, you become this glorified beggar. You look really good. You have these fancy proposals. You say the buzzwords. We're going to develop a sustainable way to solve youth unemployment. You are going to help women get empowered. You're using all these fancy words, but you're really not creating an ecosystem that can be sustainable. What is happening there is you're just earning for the day. And that is really not promising. I hope you understand that I am not against NGOs. There are people who should do NGO work. But I believe that many of us don't need to. Many of the networks and the efforts and the mushrooming of organizations and the being associated with all these projects is unnecessary. I receive so many project things like apply for this, and I used to be distracted by that. I used to think, oh, I need to gain expertise in this, till I realized this is not my core business. This is not what I want to achieve. I want to build. Thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you subscribe, you like, you share. I have new videos Tuesdays and Thursdays. See you soon.